finding the spark and joy and excitement in a job where it's not laid out in front of me, but there's a ton of potential, and like reinvigorating myself in it, and also not playing the where should you be at any given point in your life game, and how those things kind of come into play together, and all of those whirling thoughts and emotions that come with that, and kind of just staying on a positive, productive, empowered track with all of those things.
This is The Growth Moment with your coach, Amy Kay. Inspiration, ideas, and incredible insights for you to be more and do more. Get ready to grow today. How do you find the spark, joy, and excitement? In a job or anywhere in your life? How many times have you hit that wall of knowing that you want things to be more alive, on purpose, but not sure how to make that happen? And perhaps not taking charge to change it because it's not all clearly laid out for you and you're too busy. Busy in life and busy getting caught up in your head. This is the challenge at hand today. My guest, Anna, is an absolute bright light, an emerging Gen Z leader passionately making a difference in the social justice and equity world. She burst out of university, landed a job aligned with what she wants to bring to the world, and now, after settling in, she's dealing with how to stay on purpose in the midst of the real-life, day-to-day work. Anna and I start to explore what that path looks like, literally how to dial up the purpose and passion to be at her full potential. As you listen, think about your life. Where do you need an infusion of spark, joy, and excitement? Is it in your job? Or maybe elsewhere, your key relationships, your personal growth or learning, or even your finances and money? This is your one precious life. If the joy isn't sparking, for goodness sake, let's get on that. Take a moment right now to identify an area to focus on and listen for the questions, tools, or ideas that inspire your own action today. Check out the show notes. They can help you get even more out of this episode. We will jump in right after Anna gives me her bottom line, what she wants to walk away with today, how to hop back on the positive, empowered, productive path when she veers off. So what's it like, that positive, productive, empowered path? How do you, if you close your eyes and just see it, what does it look like?
It's excited. It's really grateful. It's an awareness, but it's also just like I'm seeing like my vision of it is like just like marching forward with like just so much joy and enthusiasm and power, and like not looking back. Just no hesitation. I think that's a big common theme, is just no hesitation, feeling really good about, I mean, great if that's how I got to move through life, or anyone did, but that's not the reality. But in a specific aspect of my life, to just feel like I could just like keep marching forward and do it, and being super confident about that.
So really picture it, Anna. Picture because are you seeing yourself in that marching? Do you literally see you?
I did. So I did. And then I laughed because I was also like, well, the work that I do and want to pursue is so incredibly nuanced. And to some extent, like even morally, that's not how I should be going. Like there's so many questions I need to keep asking myself. And there's so many kind of existential questions I am going to keep having, which is part of why I like it so much and part of what's so important. So I've got to like distill that a little bit, because I think in an ideal world, it'd be great if I could just like be so like, this is what I do. I love it. It's great. I'm on this journey that's going to be like so exciting, so great, and not question or look back. But it kind of is an intrinsic part of all of it.
All right. Check my logic if I'm hearing this right. So in a simpler world, in a simpler job, you could just happily march and I can see you, just swinging your arms and you're going. But the challenge is it's not simple. Life isn't simple. Your job isn't simple. The people you're trying to help and the purpose you're serving in the world isn't simple. And am I hearing that right? That therein lies some of the dilemma?
Yeah, totally. And I think in like, I don't know, say another sector of work where like this is my clear cut path. I'm psyched about it. It could change, but I get to be on the similar like line of success and what success could look like and what roles of power could look like. And for me, that it's one, if things go the right way that the world changes and the way that we help people and create equity is going to shift so much. And my role in that is potentially going to shift so much. And what spaces I'm allowed to occupy are going to change, or I'm going to understand more where I'm supposed to be and not supposed to be, and how, and the role I play and how I contribute as I continue to work in this space. And it's stressful in some way, but that's not the word I'm looking for. I think it's this like, okay, I feel like I'm just never not at a crossroads. And when I'm at the crossroads, it's like okay, well, how am I supposed to be excited about something or see what's ahead of you when these crossroads are just always going to exist? And it's a good thing. It's a good thing to constantly be asking myself all the questions that I just said, but I think it's also just hard when I'm in a place where like, okay, I like my job a lot and there's a lot of exciting stuff happening, but I still catch myself in like where we started, which is just like a dullness or like lack of enthusiasm around the work that's being done, and to think about where we go from there.
For some people, the visualizing your path is a great tool, moving beyond your busy brain and seeing the overall picture. Usually you can start to find answers and clues from that bigger perspective. Anna was able to see herself marching joyfully forward. She went right to the sparkly place and then could more clearly identify the tension or dilemma between that joyful moving forward and getting caught by all the real life complexity and issues. This whole picture it thing helps your brain cut through the clutter right to the heart of the matter. So think about the life area you are focusing on today. Can you picture your path, how you want it to be? See what your sparkly path looks like, feels like. Let it play out in your head like a movie. I want you to connect to that vision. Let it come into focus, recognizing what might hinder or help you find more joy. Now let's jump back in and notice the question that brings Anna out of the dullness and lack of enthusiasm. What's your highest purpose, Anna, no matter the crossroads, this particular job? What is the highest purpose that you know you're here working on behalf?
I think I have to go broad, but I would love for it to be supporting the work to create a more equitable and just country and community, and then smaller than that, communities.
All right, so take a breath with that. Supporting a more equitable and just country and communities. What's joyful, exciting, sparky about that?
There's an unfathomable amount of room to grow in that. I think opportunities are endless because we've got so far we need to go, and then once we're there, once we get closer to that, I think that there's just so much opportunity, and there's so much opportunity for it to happen all around. So much work that needs to be done.
And so, where I want your vision or your gaze is not on, oh my gosh, there's so much to be done. And are we doing the right thing? Or is this going to do that? Like all those existential Anna questions, because you've got such a bright mind and a questing mind. But I want your gaze on the joy of the equity and the justice, but I hear it, but the growth inherent in that.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm so drawn to the work, because the job is an opportunity to keep learning. The job gives you the insight, it gives you like the intel, it gives you or this, not the job specifically, but the work gives you like the opportunity to just keep learning because you have to. And that is also what gets me excited. And I think I seek jobs out that I think that's going to be an inherent part of that. And I'm realizing that it's not. I'm not getting to constantly learn about communities being served or the needs in a really concrete way, and I have to seek that out. And I think that's more daunting.
Yes, not all laid out. Really hear that from yourself, Anna. That's your job
Mhm.
to seek out the hands on, the learning, the direct impact with building country and community.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true, and I think that that's, like, the biggest thing that I have to keep reminding myself in this, in the, like, how do I keep myself, like, invigorated and excited, and it's going to my colleagues who are much more knowledgeable and being like, "Can we grab a virtual coffee?" Or, "Can I just pick your brain? Can you, like," and I think I'm still, and again, it's not the culture, so it's creating that culture
Ah,
and seeing it right in front of me, and it's not easy, it's scary, it's not something that's super comfortable, but
and so think of it in relation to what you're saying. So it's not the culture. I have to create it. I have to seek it out. And I have to manage up in a sense
yeah.
the people and the changes the communities that you're wanting to build. The culture isn't there. They're going to have to step up and help build it and not have it built for them.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that it in just from, like, a organizational standpoint, the hardest, like, hurdle is doing the initial reach out and maybe having some time in my concrete schedule where I am doing my learning, doing that on my own and having that be a really and having that conversation with my boss where, like, I wanna work this into ideally our team, but specifically into my workload, and it will I mean, and it is pretty inherent to my job and should be something that's already happening.
But you're wanting to make it explicit in your job, not implicit.
Yeah, exactly.
Think back to my powerful question. What is your highest purpose? That's a killer question. It sets you back on your heels. Purpose is the source of sparkle, joy, and excitement. For Anna, it's not just her passion for supporting a more equitable and just world, communities, it's also the growth, the enormous opportunity for her to keep learning. Take a moment to ponder, what is your highest purpose? This isn't a quick exercise. This is a sit down later after you listen to this episode and just contemplate your purpose. There isn't much more strategic personal growth work you can do than to ponder your purpose on this planet and how you can dial that up across your life. The other key part just now was when Anna realized that it's up to her. She's the one who has to bring her purpose alive. It sure isn't anybody else's job. Listen now for how Anna takes full ownership and responsibility for getting into action in service of her fulfillment. All right, so picture that for a moment. Reach out time, learning time, direct community, joyful, sparky building time. How much time in a given day or a week do you need as your non-negotiable minimum?
It's an interesting question because it can look like so many different things, and especially in COVID. Like, if this were the world we knew it a year ago, I'd say I'd really like to be, like, in one of our schools that we're working in and sitting through one of our extracurricular programs. Or yeah, like I'd like to spend one day a month shadowing one of our in-school coordinators or whatever it is. I really want to sit in on this panel. And that's so it looks different now, but maybe it's once a week now.
But I love the idea of working back from that. So if it was quote normal times, this is what it would look like in your job.
Mhm.
Specific activities, outcomes from those activities, this much time, here's the frequency. So of course, I'm going to give you a request for a yes, no, or counter offer.
Mhm.
I request, Anna, that you take 15 minutes in your schedule to map that out, going, okay, real life, normal life, this is what it would look like.
Mhm.
And then back it up. All right, then what does it look like in COVID? How do I get that same thing? Am I sitting in on a Zoom call? Am I somehow doing a massed outdoor visit with some of these teachers, et cetera, the programs? I don't know. What's coming to you? How do we do this?
Yeah, I mean, I think off the bat, it's like I should just be getting like having Zoom coffee or Zoom meeting with my coworkers who are much more on the front lines of this work.
Hmm.
And I don't really have a lot of time with them. I also don't get to I don't get the opportunity to pick their brain or haven't yet. And I think that that's kind of where I start. I also trust them and think they're so brilliant, so they'll have great suggestions for me.
What are you going to ask them specifically? You're in your Zoom coffee chat. They're right there saying, Anna, ask me anything. I'll help you in any way you want. What's your ask?
I mean, I think I'm still so new. I think I want to know like what their most like the most gratifying part of the work is for them. I mean it can be basic enough as like asking them the questions that I'm asking myself of like especially in this COVID world we've gotten so bogged down with like okay, well here are the things we can focus on and it's data and strategic planning and not very concrete people facing things. And I mean, we've done a lot of the work we're doing is like talking about how COVID is disproportionately affecting the communities and that we're working for and understanding where we're really going after this because the work's forever changed, the goals are forever changed. So making sure that I have a real understanding of where their heads are and kind of where mine should be.
And so I hear a rich, strategic, big picture conversation, which I know you thrive on, and real specific examples, and that there's a depth there, a depth in the conversation, not day to day. Is I don't know if I'm hearing that right.
Yeah, yeah, and because most of my interactions with most of my coworkers are pretty like administrative, honestly. So just the opportunity to really ask questions that I don't think I've ever gotten answers to, and just wondering, even if they don't have answers, like I think it's not coming to them with what are the answers to these questions, but just what are your thoughts? Like, where are you with this question? That I'm sure you have too.
In dialogue, in collaboration, I think about how the collaboration and the connection and the communication.
Yeah, and those have been buzzwords for you and I since the beginning.
Mhm. And to feel that and the link to joy and excitement.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of like recreating those neurological circuits for me, honestly, like in my work and just yeah, and working like I have ADD, so just the going it gets pretty anything can get pretty dull pretty easily for me and I need and this like these conversations are like the number one thing that are going to revamp me and get me back in and so I know I need to take responsibility for making sure that those happen and I'm in a place for it. Like I think that that's what I need to remind myself that I am so lucky because I do have these resources to make that happen at my fingertips.
And so I'm struck by how much is at your fingertips, how much of this is in your control if you have the agency to do it. Or you tap into what you actually have at your, as you
Yeah.
said, your fingertips
Mhm.
and go, Anna, look at what you have right here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a reoccurring theme of just like this isn't my it's not necessarily my place to shake up what the culture looks like or like who am I to take that person's time when they're doing X, Y, and Z important thing.
So,
Which
Anna, who
yeah,
are you to shake up a culture? Who are you?
a team member that has the ability and the right to do that.
But even larger, who are you to do any of this in the world?
Oh, yeah, I mean baseline I think just someone who cares and wants to.
Is that enough to be deserving to shake things up?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. It totally is. And at some capacity, nothing's going to happen if things aren't shaken. So, got to start somewhere.
And I am incredibly struck now by it's the same message to the communities you're building. They might be standing here right now saying, who am I to try to change this? Who am I to tell people what to do?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right in that the empowerment has to come from all sides.
Yes. Gotta walk your talk, babe.
Yeah. No, you're so right.
Exude that force, that energy of change, of purpose. passion, even in the day to day.
Mhm.
I want you to picture that path.
Mhm.
How do you look now? And it might be the same or worse. I'm unattached to whatever you see.
Yeah, no, it's it's so funny. So at first I was just like chugging along, like not looking back, a lot of force moving forward. And then like this path, it's like I'm walking, I'm taking my time, but I'm collecting stuff on either side of the path as I go. And just like in my head, this is going to sound ridiculous, but like I'm such a visualizer and this is my metaphor, but I was like I was picking a bouquet of flowers from either side and like walking out with this big bouquet of flowers. And that is such a, and I, that sits so much better with me because it's like, you aren't just moving forward without looking back and not learning and not evolving. Like you're picking up all this like learned information and all these resources and awareness of the world and the communities you go.
Not just headlong. Anna's moving forward. Look at her go.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is more depth. There is more connection when you're gathering as you go. And I don't know what all those flowers are, resources, etc., but also gathering the people, Anna. You are young, but you are a leader, a natural leader. And I want you to own it right now and feel it. You have incredible passion and intelligence and drive. Go lock arms with the people as you go. Bring them with you on the path. All of you marching joyfully forward.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I think like the number one thing I'm collecting in like with people and what why you collect people is like the shared knowledge that comes with that and shared perspective, which is just invaluable. Like you can't really move ahead. I can't personally move ahead without it.
And so feel those reach outs now with your colleagues. You're creating that shared purpose and perspective. And that's what you've been craving.
Definitely.
Nice. All right, Anna, we're going to wrap this up. What do you want to acknowledge about yourself? What did you really notice about Anna?
I think I probably say this after every session, but I have so many of the answers.
Damn straight.
Yeah, and just trusting myself that I have the solution.
Yeah. And I think that's what coaching in the end is space to hear your own answers, trust yourself, move forward.
Yeah, so just like continuing to give myself the space and time to acknowledge my own thoughts and solutions to stuff.
Yeah. Well done, you.
Thank you.
There were a couple of great tools and techniques here. First, you get to brainstorm ideas of specific things to do to be on purpose. I want you to identify those aspects that make you feel alive and find ways to incorporate them. Again, maybe it's for your job, or maybe it's some other part of your life that needs more spark, joy, and excitement. Anna came alive as she talked about what brings true meaning into her job and how easily she can stir that in. This is part of the trick. Often you don't have to change everything, just add purposeful moments, actions, and tasks to get the transformation from dull to maximum sparkle. Notice what ideas are popping in your head right now for your own aliveness. Write them down, grab them, and get specific. What will you do? Know that all of this can be an experiment, just stuff you're trying out to see what hits the joy meter. I also want to bring your attention to when Anna's inner critic, or gremlins, showed up. It was the who am I to shake up the culture? The critic loves to jump in when you're getting close to a transformation, trying to yank you back into staying small and safe. One of the best antidotes to who am I is I am someone who blank. Just claim it. Anna said, I am someone who cares and wants to shake up the culture in her job and in the world. Simple powerful. And I love at the end how Anna came full circle and had a new vision of her path. She could see how all the bits and pieces from the coaching were now incorporated. This vision is a great touchstone as she moves forward. Anna and I went on to set some very specific actions, scheduling her reach outs weekly inside and outside her company, as well as talking to her boss to make these purpose-rich activities a more explicit part of her job and for the organization as a whole, really building a culture of engagement, a win-win for everyone. Of course, I now ask you, what's your claim? Who are you? Dig deep and own who you choose to be in this world. I invite you today, right now, dial up your spark, joy, and excitement. Hear your answers. Trust yourself and move forward. As always, I would love for you to subscribe to The Growth Moment on your favorite podcast app for more tools and to find out how to get your own growth moment. Visit thegrowthmoment.com. Now get out there and grow today.